Hello, everyone. My name is Parker Smith. I'm going to be giving a quick little presentation on success tips for beginning educators. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right in. So I did two field experiences at a local elementary school near me. I went and I watched their physical education teacher. I will, however, leave her name anonymous. So just for the sake of it, I will call her Miss Smith. So the first time I went to this elementary school, I actually went to watch Miss Smith and how she managed her classroom. Classroom management was a big key that I wanted to learn from myself. So that's something why I kind of wanted to watch her and how she managed her classroom. So the first thing Miss Smith said to me, she told me, one, you're not there to be their friend. I know a lot of starting educators, you want your students to like you, so you really want to be their friend, but you are not. You are their teacher, you are their educator, you are their elder. You're gonna have to lay the law down sometimes. The second thing that Miss Smith told me is you have to find a balance between discipline and also kind of giving the students freedom to be themselves. You don't want to always have their foot on them so tight that they can't express who they really are, because every kid is different and they want to show you their personality, their humor, and who they truly are. So finding that happy medium between always letting them know, hey, these are my rules, let's follow that, but also allowing them to be themselves. One thing that I really saw while I was at this elementary school is that every student demonstrated respect, and it went both ways. While they were showing Miss Smith respect, Miss Smith also showed respect back, and that was a mutual thing that I really thought was very interesting when I was watching. One thing that I also saw that Miss Smith did that I really liked is when the students were playing and they had all the equipment going, while they started playing, if she ever needed their attention, she would yell out, "If you hear me, touch your knees. If you hear me, touch your ears." And then that meant that the students were ready to listen. And that was something I really liked and definitely incorporate into my teaching. The second time I went to this, it was the same elementary school and the same physical education teacher. I wanted to look at how students choose their role models. I wanted to see basically the theory of child see, child do. So essentially, if a child were to see another kid acting incorrectly, he would also act bad. Or if a child saw a professional athlete celebrating a certain way, he would also celebrate a certain way. And I really found this interesting. But one thing when talking to Miss Smith that she said to me that I found very interesting is she said that children's mind are very immature, especially at a younger age. So when asking them who their role models are, it really could it depends on when you ask them. If you were to ask an athlete or a child when they are playing a sport, who is your role model? It is a you have a very high percent chance that they are going to say a professional athlete. But if you were to ask them while they're at school or just kind of walking around, you may get an answer like maybe a parent, a grandparent, a guardian, anything like that. And that just goes to show that every child is different. Every single child is different, whether they love sports or hate sports. Maybe they loved a video game. Maybe kids don't have a screen to even play on. Like I said, every kid is different. So that is what's going to lead me into my next thing, and that is my 4 keys to success for beginning educators. My first key is be someone a student can look up to. The first thing you're gonna want to do as a beginning educator is you're gonna want to create healthy relationship with students. Creating relationship with students is a huge part of being an educator. Essentially, if you are in there and you just don't care about creating relationships with students. You're just like, so what? I'm here. I work my however many hours and I go home. That's not going to be someone a student can look back at and say, man, that guy really made an impact in my life. And, and like I've said it before, as an educator, you are not there to be their friend. But the things you are doing, the discipline you're putting on them, should always be what you believe is truly best for the students. And that can go a long way. It really can help a lot. And when you're doing this, you you need to realize that a lot of students, and there's a good bit then people don't realize, they don't have a role model in their life. They may not have that mother or father figure or that grandparent or someone that they can look up to. So as a teacher and an educator, you see them more than parents do. So you can be that role model and that person that a child can look up to and be like, "Man, I want to model my life off of them. I want to be just like them when I grow up." Someone that when they graduate, they say, "Man, my elementary or my middle school or my high school teacher, man, they just had a huge impact in my life." That is who you want to be. And understanding that every child is different, that can help a lot. Understanding that they come from so many different backgrounds, that can help you really truly understand how you can be someone that impacts their life. My second key is have passion for your job. Students can tell very quickly, believe it or not, they can tell very quickly for those that do care about their job and those that do not. Those that want to be there and those that are really just there for a paycheck. Sometimes you got to be willing to go above and beyond what's asked. Be willing to put in that extra time. That is what separates good teachers from great teachers. It is being willing to, put in those 40-hour, 50-hour, maybe even more than that hour weeks so you can help your students and help yourself at your job. You always need to put your students first, and by putting in that extra time and that extra work and working hard on the weekends, that can truly help you become a fantastic teacher. I think if you're willing to accept your flaws and criticism and learn from it and willing to put in that extra time to be better, the amount of success that you can see is it'll be insane. Really, it really will be. Now my third key, and this is something that can be tough for a lot of people, is you have to stay motivated. You have to find ways to keep going and pushing yourself, especially as you get later in your career. And one thing I believe that can help with that is always find ways to set goals for yourself. Find little ways to help push yourself, whether it could be a little thing that's week to week goals or maybe it's something big that's like a yearly goal. Find different ways to push yourself. Now you also, while doing this, you need to set goals for your students and you got to be realistic. Find little things to help you push your students and help push yourself to help them get better. Now, to do this, you're going to have to find what motivates yourself and what motivates your students. Back to every child is different. Not every child is going to have the same motivation. And you're going to have to work a little bit to figure it out on what motivates a student. And when you're doing this, you're not just doing it to help your students stay motivated in your class or helping yourself stay motivated in your class. You're trying to help these students find ways that they can stay motivated outside of your classroom and stay motivated in life. And this, helping your students do that, will also help you stay motivated and help you push yourself and wanting to keep getting better. My final key that I believe is very, very important. And I've touched on it a little bit before, but classroom management is key to success. You're not, and I keep coming back to it, but you're not there to be their friend, but you are there you're there to be their teacher. You, like I've said it before, a lot of educators are going to want to start off by wanting their students to like them. And that's completely understandable. You do want your students to like you as an educator, but that does not mean allowing them to do whatever they want and running all over you, because students will take advantage of that very quickly. Now, you don't want to be that guy that is so hard, or that guy or girl that is so hard and just really demeans them and pushes them down. You want them to be themselves and express themselves, but you have to keep your classroom under control. And ways that you can do that is have a saying or something that you do that students know. I need to freeze, drop what I'm doing, and I need to pay attention to my teacher, my coach, whatever. And that can be anything. That can be something like 1, 2, 3, eyes on me, or just a little saying here and there, or maybe a noise. Anything that can get a student's attention to be like, oh, okay, it's time for me to stop what I'm doing, pay attention to coach or teacher. And another thing, from day one, you can demand respect from students, but just because you're always demanding it does not mean you will have it. You will have to earn respect from a lot of your students. And by doing this, it creates this mutual bond that you have respect from them, so you will give respect back. And that can create a very good, healthy classroom environment. And like the last thing I would say is, when you have your classroom, you have to be willing to adjust, but also stick to your set rules and your set guidelines. You may have a rule that says, hey, when we're in line to go to the next class, our mouths are off. But maybe you had a rule that was like, when we're in line, no bathroom breaks, let's get ready to go. But as you've started to learn, you're like, maybe they didn't have time to go to the restroom or get water in my class. So you know what? I'll allow them to raise their hand and they can go get water or go to the restroom or do whatever. So that's just a little example. I think being able to adjust and make minor adjustments will help you a lot. But the biggest thing is classroom management is the biggest part of maintaining a healthy environment in your class. The last thing I have to say is use these 4 keys, and I'm telling you, you will have a very successful classroom and a very good environment in your classroom. I hope everyone has a fantastic career. I just want to say good luck, have fun to all my future educators out there. Thank you for listening along.